Hey, how is everybody today? Uh, a couple of people yesterday kind of missed my video uh, when I was comparing two of the bread machines that we do have in the Outlaw's kitchen. By the way, you can call me Bruce, that's fine. Uh, so today I said I would redo this and we're going to bake some bread. We're going to compare two bread makers. All right, so we're just going to go over here and we're going to take a quick look at the two bread mixers that we are comparing today. And we'll just get the camera flipped around. All right. So, okay, the first one is the Wolfgang Puck bread machine. I got this on a showstopper deal from the shopping channel, and I know that QVC does carry a lot of Wolfgang products in the States. It's actually a really, really good little bread machine. And here, this is one advantage it does have, is this here up top is a fruit and nut dispenser. And you can program the bread machine to drop your raisins and stuff like that for your raisin toast into your mix as it needs through its cycles. We're not making raisin toast today. We're going to be making a straight white bread recipe. I don't have any milk today at the house. I just realized that, but we're going to make it without milk because it works just the same. Our second bread machine is the Black & Decker. And it's a little bit older, and I think we purchased this one at Canadian Tire because it was on sale for $65 or something like that. They basically both work on the same principle. The Wolfgang Puck bread container, you can see the paddle down there, is sort of a single loaf shape. The difference in the Black & Decker is it has this large, deep canister. And I was kind of wondering about that, but when we made the bread the last time, what we did is we discovered if you cut the loaf in half at its side, you have two normal pieces of toast bread. So it was just as good, and the bread was just as fine as well. And over here, we have the mixer. Now, everybody's saying, Bruce, why do you have the mixer today if you're comparing bread machines? And I says, we have the mixer today because Bruce is going to make cinnamon buns. And guess what? We're going to have to make some other dough to it. And because everybody loves cinnamon buns. And we have a whole flap of people that are coming in over the weekend. Sarah has taken off to Big Valley Jamboree. My daughter, the reporter, she gets a lot of free rides into different things. This weekend, of course, we're going to be doing the Coronation Rodeo. We'll be coming live to you from the Coronation Rodeo Parade in the Coronation Rodeo grounds and covering some of the events there. And okay. Now, guys, just so you know, I'm on using my Apple iPhone. And for those who realize I'm getting older, my my eyes are not as good as they used to be, and so it's often hard to see sometimes. So if you just hit the invite button, I'll try and catch what you're saying, and we'll bring you in. But right now, we're just going to put the phone down here. As you can see, we have a pretty small kitchen, and if you see off in the distance, you can see all my butchering equipment, and I've got a mixer, a grinder, a meat slicer, a dehydrator, and we'll get to that in a second because what you're really doing here and what we're really talking about is value. And I think if you're going out, because you can mix bread by hand, there's not an issue with that. It just takes a little time, and believe me, it's well worth your money. Because bread now, for the no-name breads, is now anywhere from $3 to $4 to upwards of $5 a loaf. And I think if that's what you're paying, I think you're pretty much crazy when you can do all this at home. We're going to talk a little bit about home-based indoor gardening. This will be one of the containers that we're going to garden some herbs in. And we're going to plant those and just leave them on the shelf. Maybe some spinach or some parsley or something like that. And we're going to grow some beets or carrots, believe it or not, in an ice cream container. It works. It's value for your money. again, you're overpaying for all the different things that you're growing. And right now, because of the deportations of people in California, a lot of your vegetables are getting rotten down there. And we rely on that too, so we also eat the Mexicans imports as well. But it's rotting in the field. And food should not be allowed to go to waste. It shouldn't be dumped. It shouldn't be anything. Okay, so what we want to get is we want to get a little warm water to start with. And that's because we're using yeast for our rising thing. Now, the last time I was at the store, they had the Fleischmann's fast rising yeast, or quick rise as they call it. Costco sells a different brand, same thing. It's the same thing. Whatever's cheaper for you to buy, that's what you do. There is no difference between the yeast in this bag and the yeast the one that Costco sells, which is not the Fleischmann's name brand. You don't have to. I got this because it was actually cheaper than the Costco brand over at the Wholesale Club Pack. So I'm just going to put in 8 ounces. I got the water going, and the one thing that we do have in the house is that we got an on-demand hot water system to do this, and these bowls are perfect. I know if I fill them up to the center line, that's pretty much 8 out. As you can see, I've done this before. And I'm looking for my measuring cup for the last one. And there we go. Anyway, and that's for the blender. But to that, we're going to dissolve in 4 teaspoons of sugar into the water mixture, and so the reason why I can say I'm a diabetic, I cheat a bit every once in a while, and this is where I do cheat. 4 teaspoons of sugar in each bowl. And the reason why is that you're going to need the sweetener in there anyway. It activates the yeast, but what we want to do is we want the yeast to already start blooming before we get into making the bowls as we go. And I sit there going like this. I think I already invited, but we'll invite again. So we're letting this dissolve into the water, and like I say, you need it because it helps the yeast to bloom, and it makes it a lot more of a quicker process. All right, to that, we're going to add 1 heaping teaspoon of yeast. And that, and the measuring cup. Now, upon looking around, I realized that, we haven't been to the grocery store, and I didn't get any canola oil or something like that. And I'm kind of looking around. I thought I had brought some from Nathan's house, my oldest boy's, and I'm not too sure. Oh, we do have it. Okay, we do have vegetable oil. You're going to need vegetable oil as well. Now, this little baby here is beautiful. It is the oil spoon for the Actifry, and I found it to be the perfect measure of what you need. For what this is. So put those each in there. Just add it to our mix for the cinnamon buns. And we're going to put that in the sink. So I lied. I do have my oil here, which is just perfect. And so anyway, okay. So I don't need margarine because I was going to use margarine, but so I'm going to need just a wee bit of salt in each. Now, some people say, well, you should use iodized salt. Well, you should use pink salt. You should just use whatever salt you got. I went out and bought some salt at the dollar store and Dollarama. Like I say, you do everything to economize what you're doing, and I can assure you it will work out really well. Our yeast is actually starting to flour out, and I'll show you right here as we go around. And there, you notice that the yeast is actually starting to expand. And somebody's trying to phone me, but we're going to pretend that we're not home. Unless, of course, you're watching the live stream. In which case you're going, Bruce, you're not letting me in. And, but I'd like to thank, actually, Karen and I want to thank you guys because a lot of you have been coming to the radio station. If you want to know where it is, just Google it. We broadcast classic rock, classic country on live365.com, and it's also available on TuneIn Radio. And I looked around for different projects that I wanted to do because, as you can tell, my back is starting to curve. I have degenerative bone disease, and that kind of put an end to my illustrious career as an equipment operator. You know, as my wife said to me, says, you should have stayed a journalist like your daughter. My daughter, of course, is the reporter from the Sylvan Lake News and the Macomb Express. And there comes a point in saying, yeah, maybe I should have. I'm just going to reach over. I'm going to preheat the oven because, of course, in the bread machines, your bread dough will rise. Your bread dough will rise on its own because it has the rising function. And so, in each of these containers, because we're still waiting, our yeast is still coming along, we're going to put 3 cups of flour. And 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. All right. Put her down. Again, the trick is to buy everything when it's on sale. Why should you pay full price? There's a couple other things that we're going to do today while we're baking and while we're getting everything ready to bake. And another one, which is canned beans. And I'm talking about your Clarks, your Bushes, your Libby's. Well, it's not Libby's anymore, it's all Heinz. And those products to which they are selling at close to $2 a can. That's ridiculous. We can do that here, and that's what we're going to do for you. Is we're going to start showing you how to make your own brown beans. It's incredibly simple, and I want to crack an egg into each of these. Now, the great thing about doing things like this is that, guess what? You're not using any preservatives. You know what you put in your food, and it's going to taste all the better for it. Now, usually I would put in about a tablespoon of milk. I don't have any powdered milk today, so we'll just use water. Water works just as good, because if you're lactose intolerant, you can't have milk anyway. And so that's why a basic white is usually just normally water. I use milk because it just adds that little extra bite to it. Is my fridge talking to me? Yes, that's my schizophrenic moment. My fridge is talking to me. And so that means that Stormy the Wonder Dog will be showing up because she heard the fridge door open. That could mean a treat. It was really fun baking cookies with you yesterday. We had a lot of good fun with that when we made the ginger molasses cookies. And now, oh, there's one that I forgot to throw it. Now, the big thing here is that we got to think of is, hopefully, I don't overload the circuit and blow a fuse by doing the three things in the same circuit. We'll soon find out. Otherwise, it's a quick trip to the basement, change things around a little bit. All right. So there's one. The great thing about these bread machines, they're automatically set at 3 hours. And you pretty much, oh no, I did the wrong thing. Just a second. Oh shoot. No. Where are you? Okay, there's one starting. And now for the Wolfgang Puck. Like I said, if we were baking raisin bread, I like to make my raisin bread with molasses and cinnamon and raisins, but this is where that nut dispenser comes in, and it is priceless. Wait for it to go on the showstopper. Wolfgang Puck's equipment, really, really good. That's not saying anything against Black & Decker or any other bread machine that you may have. But you don't have to have a bread machine. You don't even have to have a stand mixer. Like I say, my wife and I, we spend a lot of time when we were making money, and we would come up and get some value for that. The beeping you heard was the oven temperature reaching 195 degrees. And when this is mixed finally, we'll be throwing it in, but we're turning it off and we're going to be letting it rise in the oven. And like I say, we'll be making we'll be making some cinnamon buns with this one. So, but that's okay. Like I say, we're also going to show you what you want to do with something like this when you're making a herb garden. Just poke some holes in the bottom of these little ice cream containers. Wash them out thoroughly and then put some soil in it and just sort of sit it on a plate that you're not going to use or whatever and begin to grow it. Like I say, these things are really great for herbs, spinach, parsley, you name it. Ice cream pails are great for growing indoors small quantities of beets or carrots or things that you need. And believe me, you don't have to have a big garden. We're going to be building, because now I'm retired, my friend and I, who I met in the Navy, are going to be building some raised beds for our place in Castor. And so we're going to be doing next year a lot of raised bed gardening. We're going to be trying out different things, and it's really important in today's economy to try out different things, to do whatever. And the raised beds we're going to be making is we're going to make them with pallets or skids that people have already thrown out. And the dough hook is really starting to mix. In the flour there, and of course camera went tilt. So, like I say, forgive me if I don't see you when you're coming in. I'm using the iPhone, and you think it's bad looking at the tablet. Boy, the iPhone's way smaller. And so yeah, so these are now going. And the great part about this is that if you think you need any extra water or something like this is where you, I didn't start this one, dumbass. This one's perfect. It's in a ball. This one will have to wait a bit. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a ball of dough that will rise. I think with this one I'm going to add just a hair more liquid. It's not quite doing what I want it to do. And the KitchenAid's really great mixer. Again, wait for them to go on sale. And I will tell you that the Ninja Kitchen Center, just as good. Even some of the more cheaper brands that you can find at Temu and stuff like that. I think what we'll do is we'll kind of hand knead this because it's got the consistency that you want. And that way I'm not risking blowing the fuse. Come on. Degenerative bone disease sucks. Every little movie kind of hurts. And that's okay. I will live with the little pig. So we're going to put a little bit of flour on the breadboard because we're going to need this before we put it back in this bowl. And what kneading does is it brings out the gluten, and you just keep folding it. The great part, as Father Dominic says, and he has, if you ever seen the show Baking Bread with Father Dominic, it's great. He's a gas. It's well worth looking at. He has a few bread books out. I'm not a professional baker. That's not my trade. My original trade, of course, is I graduated with economics and political science from university. And after a nervous breakdown and suffering through a bit of mental illness, I started driving a 5-ton truck. Probably, something nobody would expect me to have done. And that was really fun. And then I went from there, is I took the meat preparation course at Olds College with Brad and Aaron, who now owns his own butcher shop in Olds as well. Really great place. I'm going to take you there one day. But you don't need to go to the grocery store. Well, you need to go to the grocery store to pick up your meat, or from the farmer directly. It's even better. As you can see, this is a nice ball. I'm going to put it back into the pan, and I'm going to turn the preheated oven off. And I got it down at 195, but I'm going to put it in, and we're going to start raising our dough to get it up and running. But I always say, I don't buy small of anything, and if you can at least afford it, your value will go up. This maple syrup we got in Ontario over in the Port Huron area. It's a 2-liter pail. The cost per serving is way lower. Again, the yeast I showed you, which is this one, which is the Fleischmann's, and it doesn't matter which type. There's several different types of bags of this fast rising yeast. I gotta find my clip here. That you can buy. The little tiny jars, there's no value in it. What you want to say is you want to make a loaf of bread that's going to cost you less than $1. All these loaves of bread, they're costing us less than $1. Our cinnamon buns, we're going to have a dozen cinnamon buns here. Going to be, guess what? Less than the price of a cinnamon bun from St. Cinnamon, or any of the other, or Cinnabon, or whatever, any of these places. And guess what? You made it yourself. You know what's inside. That's interesting. All right. I guess I probably didn't put up, I wasn't looking as carefully as I might have at how much water was there. So let's add a little bit more to that. That's the great thing about this. You can always add more flour, more water if you think your dough mixture is too not stiff enough or stiff. And the dough will begin to rise. The dough's already started rising in the Black & Decker. It's rising in the oven. And it'll start once it's finished its kneading in this one as well. It'll be a long morning, I think. Sometimes my measurements are off. It's early in the morning. Like I say, my glasses are not the best as they used to be. And these you can pretty much just set and forget. The one I've got going in the oven, obviously you can't just set and forget. The oven is off, but you're going to want to take it after your first rise, which is in 35 minutes. I forgot that. figure if I was trying if I had any seeds or not to do so. But we're going to take a bit of a sit down anyway because I've been standing quite a while. So thank you all for sticking with me. That's great. So anyway, yeah. Okay, I'm trying to see the screen now. You have to excuse me. But yeah, so the idea that we're trying to promote is economize. Like, I mean, somebody said in the chat here the other day, said, "Oh my goodness, he looks like an old grandpa." Guess what, guys? I am an old grandpa. I have 2 grandchildren. And my wife and I are very proud of our son and our daughter-in-law and both those kids. It happens to everybody. Believe me, you may be 30 now, but guess what? One day you'll be 64 coming on 65 like me. And it's not all that long. But yeah, so come into the chat if you like. Just tap in to join. I have a few things that I have to do. And hi, Richard, how are you? So I'm going to go here. I'm going to find a couple of things that I need because I talked to you a little bit. Hold on. Oh gosh, it's a long way. Oh boy. So I see Wild came into the room. How you doing, kiddo? I was talking about the fact that the price of things like just a second here. What did I get out to get? So anyway, hello CJSL Chalet. So anyway, we were talking a little bit about the price of different commodity things that we do buy. One of them is deep brown beans. Tins of deep brown beans are anywhere from $2 to some odd cents a pound. We're gonna make our own tomorrow, but the first thing you have to do is pre-soak. Now, I got this package of 2 pounds of navy beans on sale. Any bulk store carries navy beans. The trick is that to make the deep brown beans, again, take some time, but it saves you a ton of money. Nobody needs to spend $2 a tin for baked beans when you can make them in your own home. Again, no preservatives, sometimes no GMO, hard to say, but these are in fact navy beans. And what we're going to do is we're going to soak them for 24 hours. And that's how you start. And you soak these buggers for 24 hours. So we're just going to open the package. Now, as you can see, these things are actually quite small. Believe me, when you soak them, they take in a lot of water. And that's what you need them to do. And this is 2 pounds of beans. And guess what? It's going to give us beans to last quite a few days. They keep all, you can actually can them in cedar jars. Now, obviously, probably if you're canning them, you want to have a whole bunch more. You can either with pork, or you can just use molasses and brown sugar in your mixture. It doesn't really matter. But the first thing that you want to do is you want to soak these, and there they all are, in water overnight, and that starts the beans to collect the water. And like I say, I went to the grocery store here the other day. I had to pick up a few spices and stuff like that. And normally I buy my spices in bulk packaging as well. I'll have to show you. Because we process a lot of meat in our kitchen for our family, we buy large bags of spices. They will stay fresh as long as they're sealed. This is Aints. I got this bag from Butchers and Packers in Edmonton. Any butcher shop, supply shop will have these. There is another really good another really good butcher supply store in Edmonton called High Caliber, and they will deliver it right to your door. I mean, they don't charge anything extra for delivery. They just mail it to you, and the way you get it. Like, I mean, juniper berries. Use a lot of this in sausage making, curing hams and stuff like that. And we will be doing all these things, because next week, and I promised all the guys in our chat last night that I will be making bacon, and but I will not be making pork belly, and I will show you that as well, because it's busy in the fridge on thawing while I go over to the kitchen while as you can see, our bread machines are busy. Our bread machines are busy stirring the bread dough and doing fine. And these are our beans. So we're going to put some water in it. And we're going to soak these overnight. In water, and tomorrow around this time we'll be taking it up, because we'll be starting the process of baking beans. This is what's called a pork butt. It's not taken from the pork's butt. It is not a ham. The pork butt is taken from the shoulder. It is a shoulder meat, and this is what makes buckboard bacon. As you can see, it's a lot leaner than regular bacon. Okay, we will make some pork belly bacon too, but right now I don't have any pork bellies. What I do have is I have a number of pork butts that I did get, and it's lean, and it makes a really good quality bacon. It makes really good quality bacon, and The bacon we'll be doing, because my grandchildren really liked the bacon that we do make here. The one that they like the best is apple butter, maple syrup, brown sugar bacon. And it takes 10 days to cure. And I realized going, 10 days? I says, believe me, it's worth it. The bacon that you're buying at the grocery store is basically tumblered and pumped with water. And that's why when you're cooking your bacon, you get a whole bunch of water instead of just grease, right? And that's because it's tumbled and it's pumped. Believe me, when you make your own bacon, you won't see water coming out of it. It won't shrink down to nothing in the pan, and you'll have a great flavored bacon. I wanted to talk to you a little bit because around here, because of the fact that bacons, when they're smoked, they are smoked at a very low temperature over a long period of time. So when you're curing your bacon, you're going to want to use prog powder number 1. Go to the internet, get the appropriate measurement per pound on prog number 1, because this is not, a curing salt is not salt. It is a nitrate. And if you use too much, you could cause some serious harm to yourself. And if you use a lot, you're going to die. It's as simple as that. But you use this when you're curing. And like I say, its proportions have to be exact. Totally exactly measured. But this is a curing salt. And in 10 days, with the combination of the brown sugar, and we'll go through that, the combination of the brown sugar, the apple butter, and maple syrup, you're going to have a really great bacon once you get it out of the smoker. You don't, before I say anything, you don't have to smoke. Hi Senza, how you doing? You don't have to smoke your bacon. You can cut it right there. Once it's cured, all that flavor that you have cured it with over the 10 days of flipping the bag up and down and upside down. Hi Shyla, how are you? As you're making the bacon, the flavor's in there. It's cured. It'll be a totally different color. This is where your pink comes in, because when you do a ham, and what we'll be doing is we'll be curing some pork loins rather than doing hams, because it will be just exactly that. It'll be a ham. And of course, the principles, now I will show you a wet cure and I will show you a dry cure. The principle is both the same. The wet cure takes a little less time per pound, but I prefer the dry curing method. And like I say, when you're using nitrates, make sure you put, when you're using the prog powder, check online to the converter, how much per pound, how much nitrates. Because believe me, this can make you very sick. But if you're smoking or if you're cooking your temperatures, things like sausages, when you're smoking sausage, you're smoking them at a very low temperature over a prolonged period of time. Bacteria starts to get in. That's why you need the nitrate. And because it prevents the bad bacteria from getting into your food. So anyway, yeah. So as I said, we're going to show you some little tricks about also next week about gardening indoors. Everybody knows what this is. It's an ice cream pail. You can always grow your own food. What you do is poke some holes in the bottom of an old plastic ice cream pail that you went out and got and you engorged in the ice cream and had a great time with it. And fill it with soil. Stick it to a plate large enough that it can drain into. Fill it maybe halfway. You can sow radishes in here. You can sow lettuce in here. You can sow just about anything. I'm going to do beets in this one next week. I'm going to plant some beet seeds. just to show you that you can grow a lot of things inside as well as outside. If you're in an apartment, you can grow tomatoes in your apartment. You can grow peppers in your apartment. You can save money and grow all sorts of different things right at home. Like I say, I know what you're saying. Bruce, you don't live in an apartment. You live in the countryside. You have a house. You're right. But I have a very tiny house. We're only about just a little over 1,000 square feet. And you have a small kitchen and stuff like that. And as you look around, everything's kind of packed all over the place. Microwave. That's my food dehydrator. That's a godsend. You don't have to have a big one like I do. My meat mixer, my sausage stuffer, everything's sort of tucked away in different corners to try and get things accomplished. So, like, I mean, we have 1,000 tons of things. There's my meat slicer, a couple of food processors, and my grinder. Obviously, yeah, we clean and we sterilize the equipment before we use it, before anybody asks, because I know that's coming. Anyway, through okay, I was just looking. Rodney Frost sent a message. His internet's been down for a while. He's got a book out, but he makes all sorts of nifty. He's in his 80s. He makes all sorts of nifty wooden toys and things like that. He sews his own clothes. He's a product of his time, where you had to do things by yourself and for yourself, and you still should be doing that. It doesn't take long. This is the one thing that COVID did teach us, is we had to plant our own gardens. We had to start doing things because the price of everything went right through the roof, and it stayed there. So we're sitting down having a coffee right now. Anybody wants to join in and jump in, please do. Please do. It be nice to have some people in here to talk with, and I'm sitting down for a while, and of course having my coffee, and hoping that somebody comes in. We'll talk, and like I say, the bread is on its way, and it's rising. 2 in the machine and 1 in the oven, and the one that's in the oven we're quick rising a bit. We're going to make some cinnamon buns. Like I say, you don't need a bread machine to make bread. You can do it perfectly by hand. And Nope, come on up, say hello. And so we got our beans soaking for making brown beans. Like I say, there's no reason in the world why a can of brown beans should cost you close to $2 a tin when you can make it yourself. You don't have to spend that. You can make it yourself. Here, the bread machine just started its second need. That's what that noise is in the background, because we're comparing 2 of the bread machines. And you'll see them over there on the counter. I don't know if you caught them, but we're saying we're comparing the Wolfgang Puck and the Black & Decker again. And like I say, they're both really good machines. And it takes time away, and I can be out doing other things while the bread machines are working. Like I say, I did use the KitchenAid and stand mixer. You don't even have to do that. You can just mix it in anything, any type of bowl or pot, and you can mix your flour and your dough and knead it in and get it up and ready to rise. But yeah, so I did do that, and then I did another batch of dough in the KitchenAid, because that batch I'm going to make cinnamon buns out of. But I hope. Oh, Marilyn, hi, how you doing? But we're sitting down kind of talking, because we're waiting for the bread dough to rise. Like I say, I'm making 2 white loaves, and I'm using the bread machines for those. Like I say, if you want to buy a bread machine, if you got the money to buy a bread machine, far out. They do make great loaves. They usually come with a recipe book, but you don't need one, and you can make all the dough you want straight by hand, just like my grandmother used to do. It's just that I got one for the Black & Decker I got for a Christmas present, so I'm assuming that it was bought at Canadian Tire when they had the big sale. And the Wolfgang puck I bought on the shopping channel when it was on the, what do they call it? The Showstopper. And QVC has a Showstopper too. So you wait till it goes out the Showstopper. You wait for it to go with KitchenAids. If you want those sorts of things, wait for them to go on the Showstopper. Watch for them to be on sale. I'm going to tell you that there is really not too much difference between the Ninja and the KitchenAid. The Ninja Kitchen Center, another really good thing. I mean, kids bought us a Vitamix blender, and we do use that from time to time. But I don't find it any different than any other blender I've ever owned. It's great for making hot things like hot soups and stuff like that. But like I say, I don't see it as doing anything much different than. Okay, Angie, come on in, join us. I'm taking a sit down break. I've earned one. I've been busy all morning. This afternoon we're going to be going out. We're going to do a couple of drone videos. I want to get some drone footage of the town of Alliance, which is just north of the Battle River, the Battle River Valley. I thought would be a good one to take, and just a few other things to do. I'm just going to watch. I'm just going to go take a look and see how our bread dough is doing in the oven. Like I say, I brought the oven temperature up to 195 degrees. I shut it off as soon as it got to 190 degrees, and I stuck the KitchenAid bowl inside the oven. It's a stainless one, obviously. And hopefully that's rising. And what we're doing is we're just putting it through the first rise, and then we're going to make our cinnamon buns and roll them up, and then put it in for another rise for another 35 minutes. So let's see where we're at. And we'll just sort of swing our camera around. And hopefully I got my consistencies right. It's starting to rise a bit. Remember, it was just a small ball. It was a small ball before, and of course there we have the two bread machines side by side, and they're busy working away at a couple of loaves of plain white bread, which we started here a little while ago. We'll just see it. And here. And it's going through its second knead, both of them. And like I say, I've got the iPhone on the gimbal, and so sometimes it's hard to see what you're doing, and that's why I'm sitting down and taking a little break. And so if you feel like hopping into the chat, please do. I mean, this is the time to do it. We'd love to have you come aboard, but we'll flip the camera around again. Okay, we'll flip the camera around. Like I say, it's going to be a busy few weeks here. We're going to be doing beans tomorrow, and then we're going to be. I'm going to be taking off to Edmonton to pick up Nathan, and we're going to do the Coronation Rodeo Parade. Hopefully, it stays sunny, and we're going to do the Coronation Rodeo Parade, and we're going to broadcast a little bit from the Coronation Pro Rodeo as well. And well, I think you'll enjoy that as well. And then we're going to go to Leslieville, and Leslieville are having their annual antique show, and usually there's thousands of old tractors and old cars and different antiques of things from Alberta and around the world, around North America. People bring their equipment in, their old equipment. This is a few old steam tractors, a lot of old equipment from the churches and stuff like that, or in from the school and what have you. A whole pile of demonstrations. They have a blacksmith there who makes stuff as a blacksmith, and she sells her products. And some of them are really, really cool. And it's well worth to going to see. So if you're around the Leslieville area, which is in central Alberta, do go and spend a day. It's all weekend. Go and spend a day out in Leslieville looking at the tractors and looking at some of the different things that are around there. Like I say, don't feel ashamed. Come up and chat. Like I say, I stopped for a coffee and a break. Hey CJSL, how you doing? Good to see you. Now, what does that do? Oh, yeah, sure. Tim, come on in. Absolutely. Like I say, we're going to do 2 loaves of bread. We're going to do some cinnamon buns. Okay, that's just the that's just the bread machine going beep beep beep, not me. And but the main trick of our channel was always to show people that there are things that you can do and should be doing, and you'll enjoy doing it because you're making it for yourself. No preservatives, nothing like that. Oh, Willow's somewhere in the background there watching this because I did this for her because she said, "Oh, I want to see it again. I want to see it again." I'll try and repost it. But I should let everybody go because I got a ton of things to do. I will make my cinnamon buns. We will show you the finished product, not a problem. But I do have a couple other things to do. I want to thank you all for coming and joining. Don't forget, listen to Outlaw Radio 1960 on live365.com or TuneIn Radio for the best classic hits and classic country radio on the internet. Also, you can join us here on TikTok on video and on YouTube on video. We'll be glad to have you in. And if you want to join us on Facebook, you're looking for Bruce Karen Baker. And that's our Facebook page. Again, we'll be glad to have you. We love being able to do a lot of these things for you. We're going to do, like I say, we're going to do a lot of indoor gardening. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff to help you make some value from what you're doing. But in the meantime, I have to run. So this is Bruce, the Outlaw from Outlaw Radio 1960, saying have a good day and a great weekend coming up. Like I say, we'll be coming tomorrow as we start cooking our beans, and we hope you have a good time. Okay, so we'll catch us all later, and we'll be posting this one up.